Hey, how's it going, everyone? So this is going to be my guide on how to beat the United Kingdom level on Jurassic World Evolution 2's challenge mode on Jurassic Difficulty. So let's go ahead and hop right in. So by far, the hardest part about this mission is just starting off because we're starting with zero money. So as soon as it loads in, you need to pause time immediately. This will stop you from bleeding any more money than you need to. This will give you a chance to kind of get your bearings. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do now that we've gotten our bearings, we're going to hop in this capture team here, the helicopter. We're going to turn to the left. You're going to fly straight over here, and you'll see there's these two Nigerosauruses. You need to go ahead and trank these guys. And then once you get these guys tranked, you're going to continue to fly just directly over this hill here. And on the other side of this hill, you'll see that there's a baryonyx over here. You need to go ahead and trank this baryonyx as well. So once we get this guy tranked, we're going to exit out and we're going to pause time again. So now we're going to come through, we're going to transport, but we're going to sell. So we're going to sell the baryonyx and the two Nigerosauruses. Now you may be asking why you would go about selling these guys. For one, we don't have any money and we need to get our park set up. So this is a good way of getting the money. And two, we don't really have an enclosure right off the bat that we're going to be able to put these guys in anyways, so their best use is going to be to just be sold for their money. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here. You'll be able to find some Nasutoceratops over here. We're going to go ahead and trank these guys while we're waiting on our baryonyx and our Nigerosaurus to be sold. So we're basically just waiting for our money to go back into the positive. Alright, so you'll see our money has just jumped up into the positive. Now, what you need to do is go ahead and pause time again. And you're going to come all the way back over here to your response facility. You're going to take direct control of your ranger team. You're going to repair the control center. And then you're going to come around here, and there's a couple things that we're going to need to repair. So you're going to come around here, and there's this backup generator sitting right here. We're going to go ahead and repair that. That's going to power our park. And now we're going to drive out here to this enclosure that's already built out here. You'll see the fence is broken. Let's go ahead and repair this fence without slamming headfirst into it if you can. So we're going to drive around here. We're going to repair all of the fence, and we're going to repair that viewing gallery that's around the corner. You'll see here in just a second as we come around. And there we go. Alright, so now that you have this enclosure repaired and that viewing gallery repaired, go ahead and find your capture team and take direct control of the helicopter again. And now what you're going to do is you're going to fly over here to this portion of the park and use your little compass across the top, and you'll see the little logo for the dinosaurs that are walking around. You're just going to round up all of these Dracorex that are around here. There's several of them, but like I said, if you just kind of follow the compass on the top of your screen, kind of like you did throughout the campaign, you'll be able to find all these guys walking around here. We're just going to trank all these guys. And then go ahead and pause time once you get them all tranked, and then transport all of those Dracorex into this enclosure right here. There should be roughly 7 of them in total. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this viewing gallery. We're going to go over here to move building, and you're just going to move it around here to this side right here. You're going to have a little bit better view of your entire enclosure. So you'll have more visibility of your dinosaurs. And then you're going to take a path. And for right now, don't worry about making your path look super symmetrical or good. Just take the straightest route you can possibly take right straight to that viewing gallery. So that way your viewing gallery is connected to a path. Alright, so now that our Dracorex are being moved into this enclosure, we need to power the enclosure. So take this backup generator and just move it down to where the outline touches that fence. As long as it touches the fence, everything will be powered, including that viewing gallery. So from there, what we need to do is come in here and find the Science Center, and we need to get that built. So build it over here somewhere close to where it's connected to this backup generator, because it needs to be powered. The response facility and all that up front does not need to be powered, so don't worry about those. And then the next thing you need to do is come over here, and these Nasutoceratops we tranked earlier, go ahead and move all of these Nasutoceratops into this enclosure as well. Alright, so right here I finished building the Science Center, and I got one of these random events that popped up where you can gain money or have another option. I picked the repair all structures option just so that way it didn't affect how much cash I ended up having, in case when you're playing through this you don't get that random event to happen. So if you notice that all my stuff is repaired, that's why. It shouldn't affect this strategy at all, though. Alright, so the next thing I do here is I come over here and I manually control this ranger team, and I do a manual status check scan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the camera, and I'm going to snap a couple pictures of the dinosaurs. And what that does is going to give us a little extra money to play with, and we're going to be able to now see what these need in this enclosure. So go ahead and make this Dracorex comfortable. Alright, so you'll see here that I've actually run out of money before I could get them all the way comfortable. One of the modifiers in this is that editing the terrain is actually really expensive. So what you need to do if that happens is go ahead and take back control of this ranger team and kind of set yourself to where you can see more of these things. And go ahead and just start snapping pictures. You can see that gave me 26,000. Just pull back out the camera again, take another picture. You're going to get a little less each time. Like that was 13,000. And then just keep snapping some pictures kind of rapidly. You'll get a little less money each time, but what this is going to do is give you just enough money that you might be able to come in here again and do just enough terrain editing. Make sure you find the one that you actually status checked. You should be able to do just enough terrain editing to get this thing comfortable. Alright, so our Nasutoceratops are finally being delivered here. So go ahead and do a status check on these guys so that way we can see what their needs are. And then to give us the money we need to go ahead and give them their terrain, go ahead and take a couple pictures of them to get a little extra cash. But at this point, our money actually should be going up. We should be in the profits, but this is just going to give us that little bit extra that we need. Alright, so now that we're starting to get a little bit of money, the next thing you want to do is you want to come in here to research, and you want to research the core guest buildings. And then while that is researching, go ahead and try to make these Nasutoceratops as comfortable as you can. You might not be able to get them to 100% with the limited money that we have right now, but you should be able to get them fairly close. Alright, so once our core guest buildings are researched, the first thing you want to build here is go ahead and make a restroom. This is the cheapest one, and it's going to start to give us more guests and more income. So go ahead and build that one first. Now the next thing you'll want to do is save up enough money so that you can buy a small hotel. You might have to wait for a minute or so while your money comes up. But go ahead and make a small hotel. I placed mine right here next to the enclosure just because it gives more visibility. You don't necessarily have to. You can place it wherever. Just make sure that's powered by that backup generator. So now that our hotel is finished building, we should have saved up enough money. We can now go ahead and build an emergency shelter. So go ahead and place this down. Once again, make sure it's powered by your backup generator. Alright, so now that we got the emergency bunker built, we actually should be making a pretty good profit at this point. So what we're going to need to do is save up enough money to research the small power station. It's about 250,000, so I go ahead and fast forward here to wait until we get enough money for it. But you'll see right here, we're actually making 100,000 profit per minute, so we're doing really well. Alright, so now that you've saved up enough money, go ahead and research the improved power technology. And if for some reason you don't have the logistics that you need, go ahead and just hire another scientist to get you there. Alright, so the next thing we're going to want to do to really get our park set up is we need to go ahead and get our shops built. So go ahead and build one of each. Now, if you still have this building here, you may need to repair it, but it's going to be cheaper than building a completely new one. So go ahead and repair it, and then move it to wherever you want to put it, and then go ahead and build a food shop and a drink shop. And then once these are built, make sure to go in here and configure the modules so you're making as much profit as possible. Alright, so now that our improved power technology is researched, come in here and research the Paleo Medical Facility. We're going to need these in case our dinosaurs get sick. Alright, and so now we need to go ahead and build this small power station, so just kind of put it wherever you need to, and then go ahead and make sure your whole park is powered with this thing. And now that the Paleo Medical Facility is researched, you can go ahead and make one of these. You'll see here I actually go ahead and delete this backup generator. You're not going to need it anymore, so if you want an extra 10,000, you can go ahead and just delete that. But go ahead and put down your paleomedical facility. And then next we need to research a staff center. Now at this point there's only a couple more steps we need to take to get you the best possible start. So the next thing you're going to do, go ahead and research the viewing gallery. Now we need to come in here and go ahead and build our staff center, so this way we can rest our scientists when they need to. So now our next research is going to be the small electrified fence. At this point your scientists might need rested, so go ahead and rest them if needed. Now at this point too, it might be worth starting to look at your scientist roster and see if there's any decent scientists to hire to fill in your gaps. I hired this woman because she has positive influence, and she kind of had the genetics and welfare that I was looking for. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to this other enclosure and build a viewing gallery on it. And then come into enclosures on your research and research the carnivore feeder. Alright, so while that's researching, go ahead and take direct control of your capture team again. And we're going to fly all the way over here to this portion of the map. There's one more set of dinosaurs that we need to get that we can get for free. Alright, and once you've flown all the way over here, go ahead and trank all these dinosaurs. Now make sure you use the lock-on mechanic, because otherwise you're going to struggle to hit these things. So go ahead and trank all of these. And then once you get them all tranked, go ahead and move them into that small enclosure we just got ready. Now this is going to be kind of tedious because you're going to have to go from one side of the map all the way back to the other. So this is going to take a minute, but go ahead and move all of them into this enclosure right here. Alright, and so now that these things are being delivered, they're just going to need a regular carnivore feeder. You can throw a gate on here, just that way your ranger teams can actually get in here now. And then go ahead and do a status check on these guys, so that way you can see what their needs are. And then go ahead and just start to make these guys comfortable. They don't really need a whole lot. Might have to just put a little bit of forest in here. But otherwise, these guys should be pretty comfortable. Alright, so now that we got those guys in there and got them comfortable, we can come in here and look. And you can see, now we're making 161,000 profit per minute. That's an extremely good profit. And from here, we should be pretty well set for the rest of the playthrough. Alrighty, so now you guys should be pretty well set up on this map. And really where you go from here is up to you. If you were just looking for a guide to get you started, then that should pretty well do it for you. If you were looking for kind of more of a full playthrough, though, you can stick around, and I'll showcase kind of the next steps that I took and how I got my like 5.5 hour finish time on this particular map. Really, by far, the hardest thing about this map is just getting started. Starting with zero money was rather difficult. It took a little bit to kind of get this strategy down and kind of figure out what steps you really needed to take. But if you've gotten to this point, you're probably doing pretty all right. And you should be able to just kind of finish out the park from here. Alright, so from here on, I'm just going to kind of take you guys through the highlights of the rest of my playthrough on this challenge mode. Kind of show you the steps that I took, and show you how I got there.
Well, they're all something special.
So the next dinosaur I ended up adding to the park was the Ceratosaurus. I think this is always a good one to start with. It's got pretty good rating, doesn't require a ton of space, and you could fit quite a few of them into a relatively decent sized enclosure. So overall, this is a good addition to the park. Alright, so the next dinosaur I ended up putting in the park was the Apatosaurus, and I nearly messed up because this enclosure was like just barely enough for these guys. So in the end, I probably should have gave them a little bit more space, but it ended up working out, so I ended up just kind of dealing with it the rest of the time. Now the downside to me not managing to get their enclosure big enough was that I wasn't able to get another species of dinosaur in here with them. I didn't want to risk making them any more upset by taking away more of their space, so I just kind of left it as this was. So all in all, this wasn't my best enclosure. Now this next enclosure, on the other hand, turned out really, really nice. I really like how it turned out. The first dinosaur I ended up putting in here was the Olorotitan. So the Olorotitan has pretty good stats. doesn't require too much, and you can fit quite a few of them into an enclosure. So that's why I went with this. So after I put about 8 Titan in this enclosure, I decided to go with Kentrosaurus, because Kentrosaurus requires ground fiber as well. So you'll see here that the Kentrosaurus is already pretty well happy with this enclosure. It ends up just needing to establish its territory to get down to where those forests are at. But these end up working just fine in here. These have pretty good stats as well. So the next dinosaur I put in here was the Nigersaurus. And I put this in here because it requires ground fiber as well. So all 3 of these dinosaurs work extremely well together. And I was able to get quite a few of them in here, which gave quite a bit of rating. So you can see I'm having a little bit of a disease outbreak, but, you know, no big deal. It kind of happens. So you can see here just how crazy this enclosure is. I got so many of all of these in here. So much rating. So at this point, I went ahead and moved over to this second portion of the map, and I made an exhibit here. And the first dinosaur I put in here was a Sauropelta. I put a few of these in here and got them nice and comfortable, eventually. Oh, and I can't forget about this happening either. Fantastic. So eventually, I got that nonsense under control and was able to get this Diplodocus out. So I put a few Diplodocus in here. Diplodocus worked pretty well with Sauropelta, so this overall was a pretty decent enclosure. And this, as you can see, we're already at 3.5 stars basically. So we really are starting to push towards that 5 stars already. So the next species of dinosaur I put in the park was the Carnotaurus. I like using these. They don't require much space. They have decent rating, and you can get quite a few of them in here. So I built a slightly bigger enclosure for them and put a lot of them in here. So as you see, I already got like 4 of them in this enclosure, and they still have a decent amount of space left to go. So at this point, I started trying to rush through because I seen just how close I was to getting 5 stars. So I put a pair of Iguanodon into this enclosure to try to get another species into the park. But I never was really able to get them fully comfortable. They just didn't quite have enough open space in that enclosure. So I decided to go ahead and check all these because I realized I hadn't configured these modules yet. And then I put this Baryonyx in here in this small enclosure. Not the most ideal enclosure for this thing, but because I was like right there on the edge of 5 stars, I just wanted something in here quickly. So after sitting there fighting with the Baryonyx and the Iguanodon trying to get them comfortable, I realized the reason I didn't have 5 stars was because I didn't have enough hotels. So I was quickly trying to place down this last hotel I needed.
5 stars? Who would have thought it possible?
And there we have it, 5 stars, with a completion time of 5 hours and 45 minutes. That's pretty stinking good if I don't say so myself. So overall, this scenario wasn't actually all that difficult. Once you got past the beginning, fighting with not having any money, it really wasn't that bad. You didn't really need that many species, and your park never really had to be that big. So overall, not too bad of a scenario. So anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing making these for each park. So I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day.
Transportation underway.